David did everything right. 33 years. Senior project manager. Austin, Texas. $520,000 saved. And 14 months before retirement, his plan stopped working. Not because the numbers were wrong, because the numbers were incomplete. Saturday morning, September 2022, David sits at his kitchen table with a yellow legal pad. 3 columns, income, expenses, gap. His 401k, $520,000. Social Security at 62, $140 per month. Monthly expenses, $4,200. He runs the numbers. He runs them again. On paper, it works. Barely, but it works. David folds the legal pad, makes himself another coffee. Feels something close to relief. He shouldn't. Because David's legal pad has 3 columns. It needs 6. The 6 hidden costs of retirement that nobody explains until you're already paying them. The first cost sounds manageable. It isn't. It's healthcare. David is retiring at 62. Medicare begins at 65, 3 years. On his own, individual health insurance for a 62-year-old male in Texas, $850 to $1,200 per month, average $1,000. That is $12,000 per year. $36,000 before Medicare begins, before a single copay, before a single prescription, before a single deductible is met. This is where the plan breaks for the first time. David's legal pad does not have $36,000 allocated for pre-Medicare health care. He assumed it would be manageable. He never defined manageable. He never calculated it. He's not unusual. A 2023 survey found fewer than 40% of workers have calculated healthcare costs in retirement. Not because they don't care, because nobody told them the calculation was necessary. After 65, Medicare covers most costs, but not all. Part B premiums, Part D drug coverage, Medigap supplemental insurance, dental not included, vision largely excluded. Hearing aids, one of the most common needs after 65, not covered. Out-of-pocket costs after Medicare, approximately $6,000 per year for a healthy retiree, up to $20,000 annually with chronic conditions. The Fidelity Retiree Health Care Cost Estimate, the average 65-year-old man retiring today needs approximately $157,000 to cover health care through retirement. David's $520,000 before any other retirement expense is already $157,000 spoken for. The number on the legal pad was never what it appeared to be. The second cost is the one that never sends a letter. It is inflation, and it is quiet, and it is patient. David's monthly expenses, $4,200 accurate for 2023. But David is likely to live into his early 80s. The average life expectancy for a 61-year-old American male today is approximately 82, 21 years of retirement. Now apply 3% annual inflation, the historical average. In 10 years, $4,200 becomes $5,640. In 20 years, $7,578. In 21 years, $7,800 per month. The number doesn't change. The Life It Funds does. David's income does not automatically grow at 3%. Social Security includes a cost of living adjustment, but it is calculated using an index that tracks wage earners, not retirees. Retirees spend more on healthcare, which inflates faster. The COLA consistently undercompensates. His 401k withdrawals have no automatic adjustment at all. If David withdraws $2,000 per month in 2024 and never increases it, the real value of that $2,000 declines every year, silently, without notification. The number stays the same. The Life It Funds get smaller. The third cost is the one most retirement calculators get most wrong. It is called sequence of returns risk. And this is the part nobody tells you. David's 401k projects 7% average returns across retirement. That projection is reasonable as an average. It is deeply misleading as a retirement planning tool. Here is why. 2 versions of David's retirement. Both average 7% over 20 years. Version 1, strong early returns, weak middle, recovery at the end. Version 2, market correction in year 1, minus 15%. Year 2, minus 8%, then recovery. Same 20-year average. Completely different outcome. In version 2, David is withdrawing money during years 1 and 2, selling assets at their lowest point. Those assets are gone. They cannot participate in the recovery. This is not theory. This is the documented experience of people who retired in 2000, just before the dot-com crash, and in 2007, just before the financial crisis. Mathematically sound plans, built on 7% average assumptions, damaged beyond recovery by the sequence of when the losses arrived, not by the size of the losses, by when they arrived. David cannot control when the next correction occurs. Nobody can. But David can understand that his plan does not account for this variable, and that this variable is the one that matters most. The fourth cost is the one most people refuse to plan for, not because they don't know it exists, because planning for it requires accepting a possibility most people prefer not to contemplate. 70% of Americans who reach 65 will require some form of long-term care. The average duration, 3 years. Private nursing home room, approximately $105,000 per year. Assisted living, approximately $54,000 per year. Home health aid, approximately $62,000 per year. Medicare does not cover long-term custodial care. This is a point of almost universal misunderstanding. Medicare covers skilled nursing, but only for a limited period following a qualifying hospital stay. After 100 days, coverage ends entirely. 1 year of nursing home care at current rates, approximately 20% of David's entire retirement savings. 3 years, the statistical average, 60%, leaving $28,000 for the rest of his retirement and his spouse's. This is the cost that David's legal pad does not contain. Not because he is careless, because nobody explained that the calculation was necessary. The fifth cost is hiding inside the number David thinks is his. David's $520,000 is in a traditional 401k. Traditional 401k contributions are made pre-tax. The money grows tax deferred. Withdrawals are taxed as ordinary income. David's $520,000 is not $520,000 of spendable money. It is $520,000 of pre-tax money, from which taxes must be paid. At David's projected income level, likely in the 22% federal tax bracket. Texas has no state income tax, which helps. In states with income tax, the combined burden approaches 30%. At 22%, David's $520,000 becomes approximately $4,000 or $5,000 of spendable money, a difference of $115,000, not on the legal pad. Additionally, Social Security benefits become partially taxable above $34,000 combined income. Up to 85% of the benefit is then subject to federal tax. Most retirees with any meaningful savings will exceed this threshold. Most retirement planning conversations omit this entirely. The sixth cost is the most personal and the most consistently underestimated. It is the cost of time. David has spent 33 years with his time structured by work. His social connections are largely professional. His sense of purpose is largely occupational. His daily routines are organized around a work schedule. When retirement begins, all of that disappears simultaneously. Research on retirement spending is consistent. The average retiree spends approximately 30% more in the first 3 years of retirement than in the 3 years before retirement. Travel, restaurants, hobbies, home improvement, activities that fill the time that work previously occupied. David's expense projection, $4,100 per month, based on his current spending. The spending of a working man whose leisure time is constrained. Retirement spending adds approximately $260 per month above that projection. $15,120 per year for 3 to 5 years, $45,000 to $75,000 of additional spending. Not on the legal pad. Now step back. David's retirement plan on paper looked like this: $520,000, $1,840 Social Security, $4,200 expenses, 14 months away. David's retirement plan with the hidden costs visible: pre-Medicare health care, $36,000 minimum. Lifetime health care after Medicare, $157,000. Long-term care, 70% probability. Average cost, $157,000 to $315,000. Tax on withdrawals, effective balance closer to $4,000 or $5,000 than $520,000. Early retirement spending increase, $45,000 to $75,000 above projections. None of these appear on David's legal pad. Not because David is unsophisticated. He's a senior project manager. He reads the fine print. But the system that was supposed to prepare him, the HR department, the financial industry, the government communications about Social Security, none of them explain these 6 costs, because explaining them is not their function. Their function is accumulation. What happens after the number is reached is David's problem. This is not conspiracy. This is structure. The people who navigated retirement most successfully across the documented record are not the ones who earned the most, not the ones who saved most aggressively. They are the ones who understood the full cost structure of retirement before retirement began, before the pre-Medicare gap arrived, before the sequence of returns played out, before the long-term care need materialized, before the tax bill on withdrawals became real. Understanding the costs does not eliminate them, but it creates the possibility of preparation, a separate healthcare reserve for the pre-Medicare gap, a conservative withdrawal strategy in the early years to protect against sequence of returns damage, long-term care planning before the need arrives, tax-efficient withdrawal sequencing to minimize the burden across the retirement period, a realistic spending projection for early retirement that accounts for the documented leisure spending increase. These are not sophisticated strategies. They are the result of knowing the full cost structure, rather than only the accumulation side. David's legal pad has 3 columns. The retirement that works requires 6. Leave a comment with this question. Which of these 6 hidden costs was missing from your own retirement plan, or from the plan of someone you know? The answers in this comment section tell a story about what the retirement planning system consistently fails to explain. The accumulation phase is explained. The distribution phase, with its hidden costs and structural gaps, is not. You do not have to discover these costs the way David did, on a legal pad, on a Saturday morning, 14 months before retirement, when the options to adjust had already narrowed. Subscribe to Collapse Historian. Because the hidden costs are documented, most people just never see them until they are already paying them.